There is a moment many women reach, quietly, usually alone, where they stop and think, I am so tired, and I don't even know what I am tired from. Not tired from one thing. Tired from everything, and yet nothing you can point to directly. Not a single crisis, but 1,000 small withdrawals from something inside you that was never refilled. If that sentence just landed somewhere familiar, stay with me, because this video is going to explain exactly what that feeling is, why it has become so common, and more importantly, what it means about who you are becoming. Because this exhaustion, as heavy as it feels, is not a breakdown. It is the sound of transformation happening beneath the surface, long before it becomes visible on the outside. Let's begin with the problem itself, simply and honestly. Many women today are carrying an invisible weight that was never named, never discussed, and rarely acknowledged. It is the weight of managing everyone's emotions except their own. Of being the calm one, the reliable one, the one who holds a family together, a workplace together, sometimes even a relationship together, while quietly falling apart in private, in ways nobody else sees. This is not new. What is new is that women are starting to notice it. And noticing exhaustion is the first sign that something inside a person refuses to stay silent anymore. So why does this happen? Why do so many capable, intelligent, emotionally aware women end up feeling depleted rather than fulfilled? The answer lies in something deeper than busyness. It lies in identity. From an early age, many women are taught, not through direct instruction, but through subtle reinforcement, that their value comes from what they can offer to others. Their attentiveness. Their patience. Their ability to make people comfortable. Over time, this becomes more than a skill, it becomes an identity. And identities built around usefulness have one dangerous flaw. They require constant proof. There is no finish line. No moment where you have finally given enough. This is the psychological root of the exhaustion. It is not really about doing too much. It is about the internal belief that stopping, resting, or saying no might cost you your worth in someone else's eyes. That belief is exhausting in a way physical labor never could be, because it never turns off. It runs quietly in the background of every interaction, every decision, every unspoken hesitation before setting a boundary. But here is where something remarkable begins to happen. Exhaustion, when it becomes deep enough, starts to strip away illusions. A woman who has given everything and still feels empty starts asking sharper questions. Not bitter questions, but honest ones. Why am I doing this? Who actually notices when I stop? What would happen if I simply chose myself for once? This moment, uncomfortable as it is not a collapse. It is the beginning of self-recognition. It is the psyche's way of saying, enough performing, let's find out who you are underneath all this giving. This is the deeper truth worth understanding. Real evolution rarely feels graceful while it is happening. It feels like exhaustion, confusion, even guilt. Because unlearning a lifetime of self-sacrifice does not feel like freedom at first. It feels like failure, simply because it is unfamiliar. But it is not failure. It is the necessary discomfort of outgrowing an old identity before a wiser one can take its place. So what does wisdom look like here, practically? It begins with a simple but difficult shift, separating love from self-erasure. You can care about someone deeply without dissolving yourself in the process. You can support people without becoming invisible in your own life. This distinction alone can change everything, because most exhaustion does not come from love itself, it comes from love without boundaries. Pay attention to where you consistently override your own needs to maintain someone else's comfort. That pattern, repeated enough times, is not kindness. It is self-neglect dressed up as virtue. Notice also how often rest feels like something you must earn rather than something you are simply allowed to have. This belief, more than any schedule or responsibility, is often the true source of chronic fatigue. Because a mind that believes rest must be justified will always find a reason to keep working, even when the body is quietly begging to stop. Here is a principle worth remembering. Self-respect is not loud. It does not announce itself. It shows up quietly, in the moments you choose honesty over approval, and rest over guilt. And this brings us to the perspective shift that changes everything. The exhaustion many women feel today is not a sign of personal failure. It is a collective awakening. Across generations, women were taught endurance. Now, quietly, many are learning discernment instead. Endurance asks, how much can I carry? Discernment asks, what actually deserves my energy? This shift, small as it sounds, is the beginning of real inner strength, not the strength that survives everything, but the strength that finally chooses wisely. So if you take one truth from this, let it be this. Being tired does not mean you are weak. It means you have been strong for far too long, in ways that were never sustainable, and never truly seen. You are not falling behind. You are finally catching up to yourself. If this reflected something you have quietly felt but never said out loud, subscribe, and share in the comments. What is one thing you have been doing out of obligation, that you are finally ready to release?